How's it? Aloha. Welcome to Mongoose Max Hawaii channel, and this is an edition of Crypto Corner. Finally, I get a chance to do a Crypto Corner. My prop. That's my editing program is on the fritz, so I got partially fixed. Anyways, on this channel, Crypto Corner, I feature Oduwa Coin because I am a member of Oduwa Kingdom, vis-a-vis I own Oduwa Coin, and I have it in my mining wallet. This is the best place, I think, for me to have my coin is mining away. And it's mining away, ignore that, it's mining away in a staking wallet, not to be confused with the electric consumption of Bitcoin mining. It's a staking wallet. You can do it on your laptop. So I have mine on my laptop over there, and it's a staking wallet. And it's basically producing parts of the blockchain. The blockchain, that great invention. And Oduwa Coin has its own native blockchain. So I'm a very much of a proponent for Oduwa Coin. I will disclose that, and I'll disclose I'm not a financial advisor, so what you do with your money is your responsibility, same as me. And I'm also going to have to disclaim I'm not a tax lawyer either, but we're going to talk a little bit about a regulation that has come up in the newspaper article, which you see here. This is I got some interesting things I can show. Okay, this is a newspaper article. I don't know, this is not the best copy, but I got good copy. Now, first off, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel, and you can watch these other videos. There's videos on, I don't know, all sorts of stuff. I got some on, well, like mostly current events in the news. I try to make spoofing fun of it, and I'm branching out, and I have Shakespeare stuff. Now, up here in my channel, this is the channel, please like and subscribe. Need to support this channel, please. And there's the Oduwa Coin. I can press on that and it'll go to the Oduwa homepage, but that's not where we're going initially. First off, I want to show you some stuff in this, so I'll have to switch gears here. I'm dealing with this program. First, let's look at something interesting. Here is Gecko. Now, Gecko is it's a exchange, and it has an indicator. And here's the indicator. You just type in OWC, and here's the indicator for Oduwa Coin. And I didn't notice this. I was just in a Zoom meeting today, the Oduwa Zoom meeting, where they're getting together and talking about the developments current right now. So it's 45 cents earlier today. Then it dropped down to 27 cents for, I don't know, in half an hour, and then it went back up to 47 cents, 45 cents. I have no idea what that is. I'm just saying, but it's currently at 45 cents. I don't know. There's some type of transfer or something. So Oduwa's doing all right. This is something else I want to show you. It's also a indicator, a market indicator. It indicates. This is Coin360, coin360.com. Now it shows how big a share of a market Bitcoin has, and Ethereum and everything like this, and it shows if it's going up or going down. It's looking a lot of green. It looks like it's going a lot of up, which relates to what we're going to be talking about today. And I can look up, Oduwa Coin is on this one, but that's also not what we're going to look for. We're looking at, everyone's talking about regulations, and this is an article that came across in the local newspaper, Honolulu Star Advertiser. And it's by this guy, Chris Reed, who is just an editor making an editorial. So he, in a sense, is just showing you this. So I'm going to, this is a commentary now. But here's the thing about this commentary, is that it's talking about regulation increases and how they're going to push for regulation increases via taxing and government legislation or laws passed to get a tighter control over cryptocurrency in the United States. And, well, let's look at the article here. Okay, let's just kind of run through this. It says commentary. Cryptocurrency is a powerful tool for tax avoidance by the rich. Now, everyone knows a lot of people don't like rich people not paying taxes, and rich people don't like paying taxes, and it's a controversy kind of an area where, and they're having a new Democrat administration in the U.S., and they push for an equalization of taxing the wealthy to pay for programs they're starting off. So there's definitely governmental interest in this. It says, since cryptocurrencies debuted with Bitcoin, now this is kind of neat because it's a little history of cryptocurrency via the first one, Bitcoin. Since cryptocurrencies debuted with Bitcoin in 2009, advocates have raved about the portability. Take it with you. The resistance to inflation. Awesome point. Because there's limit with Bitcoin and limit with Oduwa. Same limit. It's resistant to inflation. And financial fraud. It's on the blockchain. It's secure. And the fact they aren't controlled by a government, it's decentralized. A government is the central point of fiat control and central banks. And, Investopedia, okay, so this is where people are putting in their knowledge on the internet, unregulated, has the simplest explanation of how they work. Their definition. A cryptocurrency is a digital or virtual currency that is secured by cryptography, it's encoded, which makes it nearly impossible to counterfeit or double spend. That's a good thing. Many cryptocurrencies are decentralized networks based on blockchain technology, which is an amazing thing. A distributed ledger enforced by a disparate network of computers. Basically, all the people that are nodes that are doing the mining. So this is a good thing. Disparate is just a bunch of different ones. This is the decentralized part of it. So the ledger, or the permanent record on blockchain, is distributed. So, yeah, that's all validly, that's exactly what it is. No bad connotation. Their value is sustained by market demand, utility, and relative scarcity. There's only 21 million Bitcoin, there's only 21 million Oduwa Coin. Scarcity. And on the exchange, where they buy and sell, there's where you get that momentary market value. The same as gold when the pre-1971 era in which U.S. currency could be exchanged directly for the precious metal. This is a good analogy because back then, before it was the petrodollar as it is today, the U.S. fiat, coins and paper money, was backed up by gold. Gold reserve, gold note, silver note. You could go to the bank and say, I'm a $20 bill, I want $20 in gold. And they go, in just a minute, and they'd give you, that amount in gold at the current rate it is. Fiat for the value, and gold value for the scarcity. So the store of value in gold is because it's scarce, right? But you can go out and mine more gold to keep having gold operations and mining of gold. So how scarce is gold, right? And, well, anyway. So, the U.S. currency could be exchanged directly for the precious metal. The virtual funds can be transferred directly from individual to individual without going through the financial institution or exchange. That's why we are our own bank. We're not going to a bank to be a middleman. We can go person to person, P2P, etc. They were launched in 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto, the Bitcoin founder, a pseudonym for an individual or group, we don't know, who still has not been firmly identified. Cryptocurrencies are extraordinarily volatile. Those markets go up and down fast. You can gain a lot, you can lose a lot quickly. But as of this week, they are valued at $4 trillion US, I guess, in total holdings, according to Yahoo Finance. About half of that is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the big gold brick store of value in the terms of cryptocurrency. Wait and hold investors, that's the HODL, have seen values of a single Bitcoin go from $600 in August 2016, before that giant spike in 2017, to $38,000 this month, a staggering gain. And if we kind of go, well, I don't have it. It's like 40 something thousand right now. So, and this is August 15th, 3:47 p.m. Central Pacific Time at the moment. So what's going on here? Why is Bitcoin origin so mysterious? Why is a theoretical currency the legendary investors like Warren Buffett and Carl Icahn have called ridiculous and such a hot property by one of the in the 1967 one-liner by Wizard of Id cartoonist, golden rule, you has the gold makes the rule. Okay, so that's what you got. Okay, so there's a comic. It's good. It's a good comic. So he's using a comic book panel that says, "Who makes the gold? Who has the gold makes the rules." And that's the golden rule. Yeah. Okay. Good political cartoon. Now he's using that in this argument because it comes back again. So, what do we have? Billionaire Warren Buffett, billionaire Carl Icahn, and they called Bitcoin, aka all of cryptocurrency later, they're calling it ridiculous. It's foolish. It's funny money. And you'll hear that from people when you talk to them about digital cash and cryptocurrency. Maybe some of the billionaires like Buffett can disdain cryptocurrency. Oh, yes, they definitely did. But as a vehicle for the very wealthy to hide their assets from taxation, the point of this article, cryptocurrency is the most potent tool yet. So what they're saying, it has a lot of potential, a big potential to be basically like an offshore account. And that's what billionaires already do, right? That's how they that's one of the corrupt tax evasion things. They have a bank account in Jamaica or something, and they don't pay U.S. taxes because their money's in Jamaica. It's not in the U.S. So instead of using skilled tax lawyers to flummox the Internal Revenue Service in the U.S. or tax agencies in other nations, tycoons can plow real currency into cryptocurrencies that are so far all but unregulated. That's not totally true. The one thing I think, if a billionaire put their money in an offshore account and they run it through shell corporations and there's no names and no fingerprints, but they still kind of really own it, and there's all that money out there, but it's not being taxed by the US, that's pretty shifty. But cryptocurrency has a know your customer. So if I went on to register in Oduwa Coin, in their thing, they know it's me that has that money, and that's my registration in case things get strange. In any cryptocurrency exchange, you'll have to show your ID, and have a photo of you and your ID and say this is for that purpose. And basically they know their customer. And the reason for know your customer, KYC, the reason for know your customer is because they're stopping that dark web stuff, the under the table dark web, where all kinds of international criminal, terrorist, drug money, cartel, all this really horrible stuff can go unknown in an anonymity on the dark web. But that's not blockchain. Blockchain has a permanent address permanently on the ledger where the transaction originated and where it ends, and who is doing the transfer according to the big long alphanumeric number. They don't know your name and address, but they see a big alphanumeric number. So I can be traced. Technically, if I had $1 billion and put it into cryptocurrency, there would be a transaction permanently on the ledger with my name on it, and it would have the big long thing. Now out there on the ledger, it'd be anonymous, but in that it's traceable. Offshore account is not. So the comparison already is unfair. So here we go. Tax agencies at a time of record income inequality. So now it's appealing to social sentiments of the time, which is, there's a larger gap between the wealthy and the poor, and that 1%er thing. And it's kind of basically true if you believe viable, statistics from a reliable source. So income inequality, rich folks, chronic scheming on taxes, the rise of cryptocurrency couldn't be more suspect. Suspect because people don't know much about cryptocurrency, and they fill in the gaps when they don't have knowledge. Satoshi Nakamoto, our originator, our fearless, I don't know, he's a cartoon character. Is he real? I don't know. He's the originator of Bitcoin, is likely to be a skilled group of scientists hired by a billionaire or a consortium of billionaires gathering together to conspire to come up with the most sophisticated way yet to stiff their governments. Okay. Now, hey, I really don't know Satoshi Nakamoto or any information on the legendary originator of Bitcoin. Supposedly he was just the inventor of it, and he wanted to remain anonymous. I could kind of see that. And he would have the most Bitcoin? I don't know. It's all myth after that. But to fill in a blank where people are speculating out of suspicion because they don't know anything, they're speculating that all the billionaires got together and this is what they invented to dodge taxes. That is a real stretch. Say, a real stretch. So, okay, and then this author's like, I'm not the first one to make this observation or, suspicion, but not too much coverage of cryptocurrencies. Gee whiz quality that never gets to be absolutely. Totally. So here, get to some important point. IRS commissioner. Okay, this is just the guy in the IRS that they have a branch that regulates the Wall Street in a sense. Said that the rise of cryptocurrencies is one of the main reasons this agency collected $1 trillion less than it should have been able to. They're not visible by design. It's an anonymity thing. So we'll get to that that agency of regulation in a second. Yet it is. It is also an increasingly entrenched part of a regular economy. Okay, so now you have what's called big tech. Microsoft, PayPal, Amazon, subsidiaries, because Whole Foods is owned by Amazon, and then they buy Twitch, and I don't know who owns TikTok, but then Japanese giant retail, Rakuten, Home Depot, car dealers, many other companies have accepted Bitcoin payments for years. Of course, because this is where the world is heading. It's heading to digital payments. Bitcoin was meant to be transaction, like buy a pizza, buy a slice of pizza, buy a cup of coffee, and there it is. You pay for it right there. That's what it was meant to be. Oduwa Coin's going to be that. But Bitcoin kind of got stuffed back into a store of value thing. So unless it's a huge transaction, it's basically like people sitting on gold bricks virtually. And so large companies, they'll do that, and they'll starting to accept payments for that. Yeah. Because of murky rules, governments often know few of the details. Again, suspicion. They don't know the difference here. In 2017, after Bitcoin surged, a single Lamborghini dealer in Irvine sold 20 cars in a month. The odds that any of these purchases pay taxes on their earnings is slim. The odds that any of them is slim. This is conjecture in the first place, but it shows how this article is spinning a viewpoint. Okay, yeah, because everyone talked about Lambos, so anyone making some money in Bitcoin's like, I'm going to get my Lambo because I'm going to fulfill that dream that was pre-constructed for me. I don't even know if I had that much money, would I buy a Lamborghini? I don't even think you can drive those on the road. Cases like that are why the first question the IRS asked, the latest version of the tax, now this I ran across. I did my taxes and I saw this question. And in 2020, did you receive, sell, send, exchange, or otherwise acquire any financial interest in any virtual currency? I answered no, because that was the truth. I already had my Oduwa Coin in my mining wallet, and I didn't buy any, and I didn't sell any. It was just my own. So it didn't even affect me. In May, Biden administration issued Treasury Department report urging Congress to adopt more stricter rules on cryptocurrency because there are none. The U.S. doesn't know how to handle it. For one example, it said that just with cash transactions of $10,000 or more, the government should always be notified when such cryptocurrency actions take place. Okay. They do that anyway. If anyone had $10,000 and they moved it from one bank to another bank, or if I got over $10,000 all of a sudden infused into my bank account, I'm in debt. Anyway, any transaction over $10,000 has to be reported to the IRS. It's a rule already in place. So how do you cast dispersion using these things? Now, last week, Securities and Exchange Commission, now this is the regulatory commission which regulates Wall Street, which is the stocks and bonds and NASDAQ and Dow and all those guys. Okay, and this is where Warren Buffett doesn't like cryptocurrency, because if people buy cryptocurrency, they're not buying stocks. And if you're out there trying to make money buying stocks and bonds, you're going through brokers, and you're going through the institutions that house all the brokers, and Warren Buffett gets a cut. So it's the commercial competitor. So if people if they're buying Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency, they're not buying stocks and bonds, so they hate that stuff. Of course. Bottom line, profit. So, the Chairman Gary Gensler urged Congress to grant the SEC far more authority over cryptocurrency market. And so this is like where it gets political. They want control over the decentralized alternate form of money. And tax avoidance is not only the huge reason, not the only huge reason, a crackdown is needed. Like there's like crime going afoot. Given that cryptocurrency is what the dark web runs on, people have used Bitcoin in that regard, enabling illegal sale of weapons, drugs, stolen credit cards, numbers, and more. The case for these increased regulations is obvious and overdue. You can't regulate the money or the cryptocurrency. You gotta regulate the dark web. So, and you can track the transactions. So it's not with the Bitcoin. The dark web is not the same thing as blockchain. What will it happen? The public support for the rich paying more in taxes and law enforcement supporting for crackdown on the cyber crime translate into sweeping new laws. Okay. So once again, it's steering it to the rich paying their fair share of taxes, that controversy and political biasing on that. There's also cyber crimes in the sense of the those hackers that ransomware people they shut down, and that's what the government's really looking into, ransom stuff. And there's a lot that the government needs to sort out with its cyber security and such. And as far as law enforcement cracking down on crime, it's the dark web is the dark web. I guess it still exists. I suppose there's people that go underground on the internet. That's what it is. And what they're saying is, on the dark web, they use Bitcoin. I don't think you can, like, if you banned Bitcoin, the dark web would still be there. It's not. So what they're saying here is a lot of all of that stuff, which is bad. And here you have decentralized digital transaction, which is good. And they're trying to just make, bad connotations on it. So are they going to crack down on this? And they're saying, this guy's saying, will it happen? Public support, because they want people to be back. I wouldn't count on new crypto rules proposed in the massive infrastructure bill before Congress. It's so weak, you don't expect it to bring in $28 billion or less. It's been 20 years since the New York Times won a Pulitzer Prize for chronicling all the ways that rich cheat on taxes, and efforts to fix the tax code have gone nowhere under Democrat and Republican leaders alike. Joe Biden says he wants to change that, but I doubt the guys who have the gold will let him. Chris Reed, deputy editor, San Diego Union Tribune editorial opinion section. Oh, man. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Obviously, it's an opinion piece, but the opinion piece is written, it's out there in newspaper articles, and people read it, and when they don't have any knowledge of cryptocurrency, and they're looking at it, it's like, man, God, they're a boogeyman. That's I don't want to do this. So I think it's a lot of baloney, and what this guy says is he doesn't have much. He's just spinning it. It's kind of like a spin doctor piece. But it concerned me, and I wanted to point out some stuff from it because it mixes fact with opinion. Bad opinion, I would say, in my book. So, Oduwa Coin, hey, we're at about 45 cents, something like that. We're going for mass adoption. And in the reserve vault, it's coming down. It's coming down. There's only a couple million left in the reserve. Once that's gone, the only way you can get Oduwa Coin is by buying it from somebody else who has Oduwa Coin. That'd be the exchanges or someone you know, etc., etc. That's when the price is going to get funky. That's when it's going to... Because right now, everyone's just doing the exchange thing and trying to keep it low. And they're trying to add on as diverse, especially in the African communities, as diverse participants as possible, because that's the goal of the coin. It's a noble goal, and it's going to be a very useful thing, and I believe it'll be big, if not bigger than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's going to have to say bye-bye to all that electricity usage. So if you want to make an opinion about should you dump on cryptocurrency, do the ones that stake, put them elevated, and the ones that mine with all that, using all that electricity, regulate them. Anyways, that's all I have. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful time. Until next time I get one of these set up. And aloha.